Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Today's topic is the impeccable laws of life. This universe is a beautiful expression of various laws of nature. There is physical law, there are physical laws, chemical laws, biological laws, psychological laws, philosophical laws. This whole universe is governed by laws. So it is in our interest that we need to understand these laws and how they function and how they affect us. If we don't understand these laws functioning in this world, it is a great loss for us. There is a quotation in English which says, none can break the law. One can only break oneself against the law. It's a beautiful quotation. It says, none can break the law. One can only break oneself against the law. So there is law of gravity, right? Law of gravity was existing even before it was discovered. We might have not discovered it, but it was existing even before we discovered it. Now, it is in our interest that we understand how the law of gravity functions. You can't say, I don't care about law of gravity or anything. I just go to the 20th floor and jump from there and expect nothing should happen to you. No. You cannot influence the law just because you're rich. You understand? You can't say, pata hai mera baap kaun hu. You can't tell that to the law. You understand? You have to understand how the law functions and abide by that. You have no choice. If you say, I will take panga with law, then law will show its effect on you. Your life will be, affected by that, either positively or negatively. See, when you travel to any country, let's say, for example, you go to Middle East, right? You should understand the laws of that country. You can't say, I didn't know the law and claim ignorance as an excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse. As an adult, you are supposed to understand the laws of that country, then abide by the laws of that country, then you can enjoy your stay there. It's a beautiful place. You go to Dubai, it's a beautiful place. You understand? You will enjoy the place, but you have to abide by the laws. So if you don't follow LAWS, it is going to be LOSS to you. It is a great loss to you. So you might as well understand how the laws function, how they govern this universe. And these laws are impeccable. They don't fail. You understand? They don't fail at all. So therefore, you cannot break the law. You have to follow the law. And these laws are all nothing but cause and effect. For every cause, there is an effect. And for every effect, there is a cause. You understand? You look at your own life and certain things you understand what could be the cause of this, certain things you may not know the cause. But if you extrapolate your thinking and investigate, then you will understand that this entire universe is governed by cause and effect. And that is called law of causation. Law of causation is what? Law of causation is nothing but cause and effect relationship. So, in fact, we will be discussing few laws today. We will not be able to discuss everything, but we will discuss few laws today. Now, these laws are obviously laws of life. So, they are all having the base as law of causation. Law of causation is the base. And it's governed by cause and effect principle. For every cause, there is an effect. For every effect, there is a cause. See, every human being, we have gone through different ages. First, initially, it is just age of gazing. age of gazing, age of perception. You are just using your senses, seeing, that's about it. Just gazing. And then you connect to unconnected stuff. And then you get into age of superstition. A black cat crossed when you were going for the interview and you failed in the interview. Then you say, it is because of the black cat I failed in the interview. This is age of superstition. And then comes age of scientific inquiry. When you do that, then you understand that there is a cause, there is an effect. Then when you go deeper, there is age of contemplation, where you then ask who is governing this cause, the laws. You understand? This cause-effect relationship. Now when you see, when you are going on the roads here, meticulously everybody is stopping at the red light. Because there is a government, there are police force that is implementing the law. Similarly, if these laws are functioning, there has to be a law maintainer, what we call as Ishvara or God. So that is age of contemplation, that is going beyond. So this entire universe is a beautiful cosmos and not a chaos. Everything is governed by various cause and effect. In that first we will be seeing is law of causation. And this law of causation has basically two laws under it. They are called law of destiny and law of karma. Law of destiny deals with the past and present. Law of destiny deals with the past and the present. And law of karma is an extension of law of destiny. The law of karma deals with present and future. It's an extension of law of destiny as I mentioned. So law of destiny says you are the product of your past. What you are today is because of your past choices, past actions, past thoughts. You understand? Your own thoughts, your own past actions, the choices you made in the past. Are you with me? That has created your destiny in the present. The sum total of all your actions in the past has created your destiny today. So when you look at your present from the point of view of the past, you find as if you are a victim. Isn't it? I'm a victim of my past. So what happens? What should I do? It says, no, don't worry. There is extension of this law, which is law of karma. It says, while you are the product of the past, you are also producer of the future. Which means what? No doubt, what you are today is because of your past. But you have this choice even today. So you have a choice to come to this class or not. You have a choice between this class and T20 match. I suppose today is the 5th match, T20 between India and Australia. You had a choice. Right, you chose to come here. For whatever reasons, your friend forced you or your family forced you, whatever could be the reason, you've come here. You have chosen to come here. Having come, you have a choice to listen or not to listen. Having chosen to listen, you have a choice to think about it or not think about it. Having thought about it, you have a choice to follow it or not follow it. But every time you choose something, you are bound by its consequence. You are free to choose to smoke or not to smoke. You understand? But if you choose to smoke, then you are going to be bound by the consequence. Rich or poor doesn't matter. Isn't it? So therefore, you have a freedom of choice at any given point in time. That nobody can take it away from you. But at the same time, you are also bound by your past. So there is bondage and freedom working simultaneously in all of us, in our life. You understand? There is bondage and freedom working simultaneously in our life. You are bound by the past. But at the same time, there is freedom to act independent of my past. But the interesting thing is, when I execute my freedom, the freedom of choice that I have and I execute it, it is executed in the background of the past. So therefore, the result that you expect will not be seen immediately. So you think, yeah, there is nothing like, my efforts, my present efforts, my choice, it's all predetermined. It's all already written. What do you call that? Naseeb, na? Nasi. Some special pen is there with which God who is sitting up the clouds is writing on your forehead. That pen is not available in the market. That is what a lot of people are thinking. Yes, sir, Nasi pen. Fixed over here. Already fixed. This is what to do. You know, in India we say karma, my karma. People say that, you know. Fatalistic. See, in fact, in Sanskrit, there is no word for luck. The word that we use is adrishta. Adrishta. Drishta means seen. Adrishta means that which is not seen. So, you do not know the cause. You have not seen the cause. You don't know the cause. You are not able to perceive of the cause. But there is a cause. And when the cause is unknown and the effect is positive, it's called luck. When the cause is unknown and the effect is positive, it is luck. When the cause is unknown and the effect is negative, it is fate or accident. You may not know the cause, but there is a cause. Right? So you think it's all luck. Okay, luck. Both lucky ho gaya. You know, in tennis, you see, when Djokovic or Federer or Nadal, they're playing the shots almost close to the line. And one shot, the umpire thinks it's out and he calls it out. And this player puts up his hand and says, I want to, what do you call that? Refer. I want to review that. And then he goes and has his water or whatever. By the time they're showing, and the ball is touching the line and going. Then the umpire says, says it's in. So it's unbelievable. You think it's luck? You think it's luck? Every day they're going and putting in effort. And they're practicing it. You know, there's muscle memory. It can't go wrong. They know that. I don't know how many balls they hit on a daily basis. You know, the golfers, they go to the range. They hit so many balls and every day. They may be excellent, but still they do it. So that all that cause which you have not seen. You only see Tendulkar coming and playing on the cricket field and executing those shots brilliantly. But there is a cause. You understand? Nothing comes without effort, without cause. So therefore, when the cause is unknown and the effect is positive, you say luck. When the cause is unknown and the effect is negative, say fate. You simply put the blame on somebody now. We are allowed to put the blame on others. You know, we put the blame on our children, on the parents, on the in-laws, or the politicians, or the administrators, or traffic. Why did I come late? Traffic. Something or the other. I am fine. Everything is alright with me. It's only the outside factors. You know, you got to correct the outside world. See, one fellow suddenly started imagining that he is a worm. You understand? It's very funny. I don't know what triggered him. He started imagining that he is a worm. And slowly, that became such a big issue that he will not even come out of his house. Because he is a worm. If he comes out, chicken will eat him. Birds will eat him. So he's terrified. So he was sitting inside the room and he's not coming out. And then, obviously the parents were concerned, so they took him to the psychologist. And the psychologist said, no, he needs psychiatric treatment. He needs to be admitted in the hospital. And then he needs to be treated for a few days or months. So he was admitted and for a few months he was treated there and he became fine. So, doctor through various methods, he confirmed that he's become fine. And then he said, okay, now you can be discharged. And then he called his parents. He was also happy. His parents came, they were very happy. They said thank you to the doctor and they took him. And when he was about to enter the car, he said, I have a doubt. I have a doubt. And they said, okay, go and clarify. So he went into the doctor's room. Doctor, I have a doubt. He said, I have a doubt, doctor. Acha, what doubt? I thought you were cured. No, doctor, I am cured. I am very confident that I am fine. That I am not a worm. I am clear that I am a human being. I am not a worm. But have you informed the poultry farm? As if the poultry farm is thinking that he is a worm. We are constantly concerned about outside and we blame the world for all our sufferings. We do not understand that if I am going through something positive or negative, I have sown the seed. You reap what you sow. You understand? You reap what you sow. You don't reap something else. It is a law. So what is happening is, like I said, simultaneously there is bondage and there is freedom. Say for example, if your wall of the room is painted white or let's say yellow color you've painted, and you've done 3-4 coats 4 years ago. Now you want to change it to blue, right? And you are applying 1 coat of blue. Will it immediately change to blue?
No.
Blue mixing with yellow, it will appear green. But 2-3 coats of blue when you consistently paint, then what happens? Then the blue will establish itself, isn't it? So therefore, it is not as if when you have taken a choice, immediately the effect will be seen. And then you say, effect nahi ho raha, main bola tha. Yes, pura naseeb hai. Everything is written. All this going to these classes and all that is waste. You understand? No. Please understand, this law works meticulously, but you got to consistently apply the painting. Because you are applying the freedom with the background of bondage. No? So it will take time for it to get established. See, when we were in school, we all gone through this experiment in chemistry lab called the volumetric analysis. You know, they give a liquid in a beaker and there's a liquid in the burette. The liquid in the beaker is red in color, red litmus. And I think the liquid in the beaker is colorless. Sorry, burette is colorless. And you start, unscrew the knob and allow the liquid from the burette drop by drop to fall into the liquid in the beaker, the red litmus. And you start calculating how many drops and all that. Right? You remember that experiment? Volumetric analysis. Drop by drop. And few drops go in, color is not changing. And for all the, children, different concentration is given. The liquid concentration is different. So at the same time, it doesn't turn into blue. You understand? One fellow turns into blue in 45 minutes. Then he does the calculation, 1.5 hours is finished, it is gone. Your concentration is so much that it's not turning blue even after 2 hours maybe. But they give you enough time to do the calculation. Right? So at a particular drop, the red litmus turns into blue. Then you close the knob and do the calculation. Right? So now the question is, did that particular drop change the color or every drop had an effect? Every drop had an effect. But at the particular drop, the change became visible, noticeable. Are you with me? But all your efforts are bringing in results. But you are so impatient. What to do? You understand? You are so impatient, you cannot wait for the result. So therefore, you think all these are not going to work. So therefore, he says, every choice of yours is changing your destiny at the background. You are not seeing it. And suddenly one day you see, I didn't do anything. What is this? Obviously somebody is writing all this. So if you understand the functioning of law of causation, the functioning of law of destiny and law of karma, what happens is you will accept the present, and you will also simultaneously have hope for the future. See, when you understand how these laws function, there is acceptance as well as hope, and there is also tremendous confidence in the present action. Are you with me? So you accept the past, whether it's yours or anybody else's, and then you are able to deal with it maturely, and there is hope for the future, and you understand that is possible only through my efforts in the present. So that is what will be the outcome when you understand this law of causation, law of destiny, and law of karma. Destiny means in Sanskrit prarabdha. What I am today. What I am today is because of my past. What I will be in future will depend upon what actions I do now. So, future is what? Past modified in the present. So why bother about future? If future is past modified in the present, why do you have to worry about future? In the morning when you switch on the TV, in every language, I think it is the same thing. In every language, there's somebody sitting and telling about the future for this nakshatra, for this star, for this, all this, what color shirt you should wear, right? What time you should start to work. You are all the time worried about future. In worrying about future, you are wasting the present. If at all you can bring about something in the future, it is only through the present efforts. And that's what this law teaches us. And not, say luck and fate. There is no such thing as luck. Swamiji says, there is no such thing as luck. So tear off that page from the dictionary where there is luck written. One fellow who studied in the ashram, he literally did that. He took the dictionary and tore it off. There is no such thing as luck. We believe. Unka luck hai, unka ye hai, unka wo hai. Nothing like that. You put in efforts. You understand? But understand, it's put in with a certain background. So there is no impatience. You will continue doing your actions, which will bring about the change. So you don't worry about the results. That is law of causation. Like I said, law of causation is the mother of all laws. Based on that, there are various laws that Vedanta explores. There is another law which we will be talking about today is law of nature, which says change or perish. Change or perish. This world is in a constant flux of change. It is not a static millennium, isn't it? Everything is constantly changing. The seasons change. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. The day goes through change. Morning, noon, evening, night. The physical body goes through change. Birth, growth, disease, decay, death, childhood, youth, old age. Isn't it? Physical body goes through change. Mind goes through change. What you liked before, you don't like it anymore. What you like now, you may not like it in future. Your emotions change, isn't it? Your feelings change. And your intellect changes. Your intellect changes. You could have been a capitalist before, you could be a communist now. Or you could have been a communist before and a capitalist now. Intellect changes. Ideas change. Right? Governments change. Today there was election results in 5 states. Right? Governments are changing. This party comes to power, they lose. Some other party comes to power, they may lose. These things constantly changes. Nothing in this universe is permanent. Nothing is permanent. The only thing that is certain is uncertainty. Everything goes through change. Everything perishes. Old order changes, yielding place to the new. They say, old order changes, yielding place to the new. I think this is the quotation by Lord Tennyson. Everything changes. Right? When you understand this, then what happens is you accept. You accept the change. You don't resist it. Because all of us resist, we get acclimatized. You don't want to change. Even few days you come to the class here, you will choose a seat. And that is your seat. Tomorrow when you come, if somebody has taken it, you get upset. You resist change. That doesn't work. You've got to accept the change and move on. You understand? Anything you resist will persist. Anything you resist will persist. And you are bound by it, you get affected by that. Persist means what? It goes inside. What's that? Just going on there. Change is happening in the outside world. By resisting, you don't want it to change. Just because you don't want it to change, will it not change? It will change. So accept it. And when you accept, then you understand that through your efforts you can bring in change if you want to. Wherever it is possible. You understand? In time. So there is merit. See, this is another reason. We want the status quo to continue. We don't want any change. Now then we need to adapt for it. We need to adapt to it. So, change or perish is the law. Everything is in a constant flux of change. You accept the change. And the fact that you are able to notice change, science says it is not possible to notice change without a changeless reference. When you are traveling in the flight, sometimes it feels as if the flight is still. Right? Then you see the clouds moving. Then you know you are moving. Similarly, when you are going in the train, there are posts. Right? So, with reference to the changeless, you understand the change. With reference to the changeless, you understand the change. That changeless is within you. So, by identifying with that changeless, you will be able to face the changes cheerfully, without allowing yourself to be perturbed by the changes. Today, the setup has to be the same. Otherwise, the setup upsets you. A new setup upsets you. Otherwise, you will welcome the change. And you will be understanding that, yes, I can bring about the change. We just saw this law of causation. You can bring about the change. For which you need to put in the effort. That's why we resist change. You need to adapt and move on. So this law of nature is there. Everything is constant flux of change. So when you accept that, then you can be cheerful. New thing is coming. Accept that. Move on. And you also need to change in time. You know, even these Vedanta lectures and all that, we are also changing, right? We are also using this technology, PowerPoint presentation, audio video presentation, you know, all these kind of things we are also doing. We got to adapt. See, human beings are governed by both heredity and adaptation. Animals mostly governed by heredity, whereas human beings, heredity and adaptation. If we don't, prepare ourselves to adapt, we'll be left behind. The way you do your business, you got to change. You got to understand everything changes. You can't do the same thing. Even the advertisements, earlier just newspaper, coding, nowadays social media. Because most of the time the fellows are in the mobile phone. And even if you put 25,000 hoardings on the road, nobody is seeing it. Everybody is caught up in the phone. You understand? See, you say we are all going to have a family dinner. And 4 of you or 6 of you go to a restaurant, you book it in advance, you go to the restaurant and everybody is in their phone. What kind of a family dinner is this? Everyone is now caught up with the phone. So now what do you have to do? You have to get to that phone. You understand? So we are also having YouTube channel, WhatsApp channel, pata nahi kya channel karna padta. You understand? So in other words, what I am saying is, you got to keep pace with time, otherwise you will perish. It's a law. Nobody can change it. Now, when we say you got to keep pace with time, doesn't mean you got to compromise on the principles. It's not what we are saying. Please understand these things correctly. See, this kind of, a 1 hour lecture, evening lecture, we can't go too much into the depth. A little bit I'm touching. So, when we say you got to change, it doesn't mean I'm saying you also become Duryodhana. You understand? We are not saying compromise on the principle. Last year we had a talk here, it was in a different auditorium. We had the talk on the topic leadership lessons from the Gita. There I did talk about principle centered, not principle bound. A leader has to be principle centered, not principle bound. So keeping the principle intact, how you express that principle, you got to adapt to the change. Otherwise you will be in trouble. You understand? So that is what this law is saying. The law of nature says change or perish. And another very important, infallible law is law of attachment. Law of attachment. See, this attachment is a deadly virus. It is a worse virus than any other viruses you know. Tuberculosis or corona. Corona, nowadays if you say corona, you understand. It is even worse than corona. Worse than any virus or bacteria. What is that? going to say, this law says, there is this law of attachment which says, attach, you lose, detach, you gain. The way to gain anything is to lose it. Attachment is by the mind. Your mind gets attached. Say for example, today I have to deliver this talk on impeccable laws of life. If my mind is attached, in this action, I must do this correctly, I must present this correctly, I hope everybody will appreciate this. So the mind by itself goes and gets attached without intellectual supervision. You understand? Without intellect's guidance, the mind goes and gets attached. The thoughts go, and then without intellect supervision, and it becomes attached. In the Bhagavad Gita it says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangastashu Upajayate. You keep on sending your thoughts towards something, then after some time it becomes attachment. You understand? So all of us are attached to our actions, for example. When I am attached to my action, I won't be able to do this action correctly. I'll be faltering, I'll be fumbling. You understand? And today's action brings about the result tomorrow. Isn't it? Today's correct action will result as success tomorrow. Today's wrong action will result as failure tomorrow. So my future is tied to my present. We just saw that in law of causation. So if I am attached, I don't do actions correctly, as a result I will not be productive, I will not be successful in life. You understand? If I am attached. And not only that, even I will lose my enjoyment if I am attached. When you are using company's car, company has provided you a car, and you are going in the road and there are too many potholes on the road, every time the car goes inside and comes out of the pothole, say, excellent shock absorbers. Wonderful car, excellent shock absorbers. And the same car you buy, new one, and then you are traveling in that car, every time it goes into the pothole and comes out, your heart is burning. It's aching. Why? Mera gadi hai. I can't enjoy. It's your car, same car you are traveling, same Mercedes S500. You understand? Fantastic shock absorber, this, that, you keep saying. But the moment it is your car, my car, gone. You understand? So, attachment takes away your productivity, it robs your enjoyment. The way to enjoy, the way to be productive is to lose it. Swami Ramtita explains this beautifully with the color phenomenon. An object is known by the color it reflects. The 7 Virtual colors impinge on the object, but the color that it is reflected, it's known by that. The shirt that this gentleman is wearing, blue color, because it is reflected blue, absorbed all the other colors. It is known by the color it is given away. You understand? An object is black in color because it has absorbed all the colors. An object is white in color because it has reflected all the colors. That is one of the reasons why we wear white color. To remind ourselves that we are supposed to be detached. Detachment we are talking about mentally, not physically. You understand? Detachment is with reference to the outcome of the action. See, every action you need to plan, no doubt. You have to learn from the past. I did cover up these things in yesterday's class also. You learn from the past, you plan for the future. But having planned, you got to plunge in the present. There should not be excitement. This beautifully Sri Krishna talks about in the 3rd chapter, verse number 30. I'll be doing this from tomorrow. From tomorrow for 5 days, we are having 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga. In the 30th shloka, he talks about it. That feverish doing, I have to do. You get attached. And the moment you get attached, you will not be able to perform properly. This is the problem. Attachment is the root cause of our failure and not enjoyment. Our enjoyment is robbed by attachment. The moment you are detached, you don't worry about the results. You focus in the present action. Are you with me? Then automatically you do the action correctly, you bring about the result success. Therefore, the law of attachment says the way to gain anything is to lose it. One fellow was terribly in love with a girl. In a way, the girl was his distant relative, So he was terribly in love. He was attached. He wanted somehow to get married to that girl. But therefore he used to unwantedly go, sit with her, overexpose himself, and then she is fed up of this fellow. He doesn't even want to look at him, So he didn't know what to do. He was going through hell. So then they told, there is a Swami coming to the town. He is very good, He'll give you some mantra, some technique, which will help you that you will be able to make that girl fall in love with you. So he went to the Swami. He met him. The Swami said, listen, you want her, no? Do one thing. Switch off your phone. Don't go to her place every now and then. Don't meet her at all. And switch off your phone also. So few days he didn't go. He said, sir, I'll lose her. He said, you already lost her. You already lost her. No? She's not interested in you. So you have come to me. If you have come to me, I'm saying something, you better follow, otherwise it's okay. I am not bothered. If you follow, it may help you. So he said, okay, I'll do that. So few days he didn't go there. He switched off his phone also. After a few days, he said, you switch on your phone, she might call you. Because what has happened? Every time he goes to the bus stand, this fellow is there. A few days, the fellow is not there. So now what has happened? She started thinking about this fellow now. You understand? So she's calling, and he said, don't answer the call. Don't be in a hurry to answer the call. Just leave it, relax. You understand? After 3-4 days, you answer and say, yeah, excuse me, sorry, I'm busy. Can I call you back? And leave it. You're not at all, he's not busy. He's unemployed. But he used to say, I'm busy. And then, after a few days, she comes to meet him. In other words, when there is detachment, you attract. When there is attachment, you repel. This is the law. You understand? The moment there is attachment, it's gone. Anything, if you really want, you got to detach. Mentally lose the attachment. You want the world to be at your beck and call. You got to lose the attachment to the world. Terribly attached. Swamiji gives these examples, He gives a beautiful example of Ivan Lendl. Ivan Lendl, I don't know how many of you know him, used to play tennis before. Right? Nowadays you only know Federer, some of the youngsters. Ivan Lendl, you know? Peter? You don't know. Federer, you know? Federer also you don't know. Okay, then it's fine. So Ivan Lendl won all the Grand Slams except Wimbledon. Every time, he even sometimes skips French Open to win Wimbledon. He skips French Open to win Wimbledon. He was so obsessed. He never won it. The moment you are obsessed, you lose it. See, a batsman is playing brilliantly up to 90. 50 balls, 90. Then 75 balls, 100. Why? Attachment. The moment you are attached, there is no proper foot movement. You understand? Everything goes, your productivity goes down. The obsession. This is the problem. Two people told me this in Delhi. One, cricket coach, when I was taking my son to him, and another, my friend's daughter learns Bharatanatyam. So the Bharatanatyam teacher also told the same thing. The moment the children are brought to these coaches, first day they are bringing, you have to somehow make him Tendulkar. You have to somehow make him Virat Kohli. Yeah? The first day, you are so obsessed with the results. Don't worry about the result. Yesterday also we spoke about it. Be only focused in the process. Results apne aap aa jayega. Has to come. You understand? So therefore, This law of attachment tells us the way to gain anything is to lose it. Lose the attachment mentally and simply do the work. You will automatically get it. There's no point desiring. You got to deserve. By going on desiring, the object will not come. Leave it, it comes. Are you with me? And then another interesting law is the law of attraction. It says, as you think, so shall you become. As you think, so shall you become. You constantly keep on thinking about something, you will become that. By constantly thinking that I am the body, I have become the body now. Everything I will be looking at from the body point of view. You understand? Constant thinking. When I constantly think from the angle of mind, I become the mind. When I constantly identify with the intellect, I become the intellect. If I am constantly gossiping, I will be attracting gossip mongers around me. It's a fact. If I am constantly gossiping, I will attract gossip mongers around me. You know, in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a shloka in the 3rd chapter again, which is, we will be doing it. He says, O Mahabaho, with true insight into the distinctions of gunas and actions, knowing that gunas as senses abide in gunas as objects is not attached. See, what he's saying is, birds of the same feather flock together. You know, all the alcoholics will find others who are interested in alcohol attracted to them. You understand? As per your thoughts, you will be attracting the environment. As per your thoughts. You know, in Mahabharata, both Yudhishthira and Duryodhana was called. And they were told, go to this world. The world is same in which they are living, right? So Duryodhana was told, go to the world and get one good fellow. And Yudhishthira was told, go to the world and get one bad fellow. Both of them came back saying, I could not find one. Duryodhana could not find one bad fellow. Sorry, good fellow. And Yudhishthira could not find one bad fellow. Why? World is a reflection of your own thoughts. As you think, so shall you become. You are constantly thinking. You are imagining. You are strengthening it. Therefore, you are attracting it. I mentioned this yesterday also. Right? If you think I don't have, your life it will not be there. How much ever you have, it will not be there. What to do? How much ever you have, it will not be sufficient. Isn't that a fact? In the poem Village Preacher, the poet says, the village preacher was 40 pounds rich. He was only having 40 pounds, but he was rich. Now we may be having 40 million pounds and we may feel we are poor. Swamiji beautifully defines who is rich. Who is rich? Anybody?
Which mentally satisfied.
Who's happy?
One who is following the goal.
Who is following goal? You attended association? No. Okay.
Who has no desire,
Who is happy?
no desire having more than you need.
He is a Vedanta student. He is not a law student. He has been attending classes for so many years. When I first came in 2005, he was attending.
Who is contented.
When your desires are more than your assets, you are poor. When your desires are more than your assets, you are poor. When your desires are less than your assets, you are rich.
Is it you are in gratitude?
That is there. But if your desires are more than your assets, then you are poor. In spite of having $40 million or pounds, you say, I am lacking few more $1 million. If I had, I could have done this, I could have done that. I would have bought an island maybe. I am poor, I can't buy the island. So he says the village preacher was 40 pounds rich. It's in the thoughts. It's not in the wealth that you accumulate. You are not understanding this. Are you with me? So he says, as you think, so shall you become. You become this because you have been thinking in a particular way. You got to go inside and change the way you think. You change the way you think, you will see the results differently. The same way you continue to think, same results you will get. Nothing will change. So as you think, so shall you become. Deep inside us, all of us have thoughts and vasanas. Right? So therefore we have to understand our thoughts are very, very important. We are just casually playing with our thoughts without understanding the seriousness of it. You keep on, in fact, this law of attachment that I spoke about, all these are interconnected. Swami Ramtika says, if you are attached to an object, I'm now going back to the previous law, they are connected, so I'll come back. He says, if you are attached to an object, you will lose that object sooner or later. Either you will go to some other place and the object will be taken away from you, or physically also you may die. So if you are attached to your children, if you are attached to your husband or wife or parents, anything for that matter, if you are attached, you lose it. You understand? It's a big problem. Attach, you lose. Detach, you gain. So therefore, if you got to be careful about your thoughts. What thoughts am I entertaining? Because it goes and strengthens the vasanas. Vasanas comes from the root vas, which means fragrance. So all of us are a bundle of vasanas, fragrance. So we attract as per our vasanas. So the environment, everything is as per our vasanas. Thoughts become things. And you think, I did not order. No, you only ordered through your thoughts. So therefore, please understand, if I am in a particular situation which is troubling me, I have asked for it. Without me asking for it, I would not get it. I have asked for it. So now if I don't want it, now what do I have to do? I have to go and change the thoughts. When I change my thoughts, my actions change, and then results will change. This is what it says, law of attraction. So all of these laws we can talk for 1 hour or maybe more. But just giving little synopsis of everything just to make you aware. And then the next law that we'll be talking about is law of neutralization or law of diminishing returns. See, Vedanta says, there is no joy whatsoever in the outside world objects. You take it or leave it. Vedanta says, there is no joy whatsoever in the outside world. The joy, happiness is only within you. It is not outside. But our experience says something else, isn't it? What does it say? I have a desire for an object. And when I contact the object of my desire, I'm getting joy, happiness. I want cigarette. I love cigarette. I want cigarette. I have a desire for cigarette. Then you smoke. You get joy. Now Vedanta says, now you say, I'm getting joy in cigarette. Why are you saying there is no joy in the cigarette? There is no joy in the object? Vedanta says, if there is joy in the object, it should bring joy to everybody who contacts it. But there are fellows who run away from cigarette. So if it was there, it should bring to everybody. Not only that, every time you contact it should bring. Isn't it? See, when you are going to take a long flight, especially if you are a smoker, what do? In the car itself you start smoking, because airport you can't smoke. You can only go to one particular place where you can smoke. Right? And that usually is closer to the gate. So you have to go through all the rigmarole and then only you will go to the gate and then you can smoke. Right? As much as possible. And if the flight is also for 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, you can't smoke for that long. So what to do? Smoke as much as possible. Your mind is telling you. So these fellows are smoking and announcement is going on. Last and final call. And he is actually eating the cigarette. Because he cannot smoke for 15 hours. He's eating, he's putting it inside as if he's brushing. And then he goes. 15 hours he develops agitation, craving for cigarette. And all the other fellows, 15 hours having sat in the flight for a long time, they're so agitated, they want to just clear the immigration and go as quickly as possible. So they're running to go to the immigration counter. And this fellow is looking where I can go and smoke. He's looking where I can go and smoke. Are you with me? And then he smokes, he gets pleasure. But if he takes and smokes another cigarette within 5 minutes, the joy is reduced. Third, it is reduced more. Nth contact, there is no joy. But when he doesn't smoke, he is agitated. When he is smoking, he is not getting the same joy. So every contact is not, he's got neutralized. That is law of neutralization. Understand? You got neutralized. With it, you are not happy. Without it, you are not happy. Isn't this bondage? Isn't this hell? So Vedanta, in the 18th chapter of the Gita, Sri Krishna says that true happiness and false happiness, sattvic, rajasic happiness basically. He says rajasic happiness, false happiness, which comes out of contact with the sense objects, brings nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. That's what I quoted just now. Nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. Right? Whereas sattvic happiness that comes out of self-control, right? Poisonous in the beginning, nectar in the end. In this cold weather in Chandigarh, getting up early morning, poisonous. But like we said yesterday, get up and do your, these things, you will be gaining the benefits later on. So poison in the beginning, nectar in the end, true happiness, which is coming from within, which is coming through self-control, discipline, etc. Understand? Whereas false happiness that comes from the contact, what? Nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. So Vedanta says there is no joy in the object. Then where is it coming from? Just look at this. See, if I have to get a joy from an object, I need to have desire for that object. Isn't it? If I don't have desire for cigarette, I will not get joy from that. Right? So what is happening is, in my mind which is calm and blissful now, suddenly the thought of cigarette pops up. Cigarette. And then I want a cigarette. I go get the cigarette. I smoke. Then I am finding joy. Now what is happening? Is the cigarette bringing joy? What did the cigarette do? The cigarette or the contact with the cigarette only removed temporarily the desire for cigarette. Then you come in contact with the bliss within which you were experiencing before the desire for cigarette came. Are you with me? But you are fooled to believe that the joy is coming from that object. So therefore what? You are deceived. Therefore you go after that. You want more. Dil mange more. You understand? Your dil is asking for more and more and more. And you run after you get neutralized, you get caught in poison. What began as nectar, you end up in. But when you understand how these things work, then you withdraw. You don't run after the objects. You establish yourself in the truths of life. Then contact. Then you will be drawing nectar from within in any situation. You understand? Therefore, you must understand how this law of neutralization works. And there is no joy in the outside world. It is just you are deceived to believe that it's coming from outside. See, another example we generally give in Vedanta is, a dog which is hungry has gotten hold of a dry bone. There is no marrow inside. A dog has been looking for some food and somehow some dry bone the dog has found. And there is no marrow inside. And the dog is chewing the dry bone. Is getting stuck to the upper jaw. And the dog is bleeding from inside. And the dog is tasting his own blood. And the dog is deceiving to believe that it's coming from the bone and chewing it more. This is what we are doing. We are thinking it's coming from the outside world, going after it more, thinking that by accumulating, by possessing more and more, we become more happy. Run, 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 run. Dog's life we are leading. So Vedanta says, understand how this law of neutralization is working. And another important law is law of attitude. If you have selfish attitude, you cannot be happy. If you have destructive attitude, you cannot be happy. If you have unselfish attitude, constructive attitude, you will be happy. You will not be insecure. See, a person who is extremely destructive is all the time insecure. You know? See, for example, lizard. The lizard is moving on the wall. If I tap this table, lizard will run. Why? The lizard is constantly engaged in destruction. They are on killing all the insects, isn't it? So the mind that is constantly involved in destruction can never be secure. Whereas a mind that is not involved in destruction, which is involved in constructive activities, which is thinking constructively, will be peaceful, calm, serene. This is a law. So no selfish person who is constantly taking can be happy. Not possible. You know, in the Vedanta Treatise book, he gives this example, Swamiji, of a cone. A cone that is placed on the apex, will it be able to stand? Without support, it can't stand, isn't it? Constantly there has to be some support, otherwise it can't stand on its apex. Whereas a cone that is lying on its base, it can stand beautifully. So a selfish person is constantly thinking, the world should constantly cater to me. You are the only one living in this world. There are so many people living, right? You have organized a wedding. You have such a tremendous desire to have the wedding on the seashore. And you organize it on the seashore and you are praying, God, there should be no rain. There should be no rain. You know? So many factors has to go along so that you can be peaceful. Till the wedding is going on, you are constantly looking up. You missed your son-in-law tying the knot. You missed it. Your own daughter's marriage. You are looking up. Oh, it isn't rain. You are, in short, what is happening is, you are so selfish. You want the whole world to kill to one fellow's desires. Is it possible? Understand? Guru Nanak Ji says, no, Tera, na mera. You understand? Tera, na mera. So, the moment you are selfish, you will be agitated. It is a law. No selfish person can be happy. So, if you are finding yourself unhappy, which means what? Somewhere down the line, I am selfish. So, I need to change. This is why we are studying all this. I will be blaming. I am unhappy because of that fellow. I am unhappy because of this fellow. You are most free to talk like that. But if you understand what we are discussing, you will not blame it on the world. This is law of attitude. Then law of manifestation of gunas, which we discussed yesterday. Right? Every human being's mind is made up of 3 gunas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva meaning balanced, serene, composed, calm mind. Rajas is desirous, passionate, restless, greedy, result-oriented mind. And the Tamas is heedless, indolent, lazy, lethargic, inert mind. We are a combination of all these things. You understand? Like coffee. There is decoction, milk, sugar. In some coffee, sugar is more. Like you go to Gujarat, sugar is more. You come to Punjab, here milk is more. You go to South India, decoction is more. But all 3 are there. Coffee contains decoction, milk, sugar. All these 3 are there. Correct? So similarly, all of us are made up of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Now, whatever amount of Sattva we have within us, it tends to manifest during 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Why it is now, don't ask. Understand? 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. it tends to manifest. Even you may have very little Sattva that manifests early hours of the day. And once the sunlight comes out, you start becoming more and more active. So 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is more conducive for rajas. And 6 p.m. onwards, anywhere in the world you go, indulgent activity starts. That is more conducive for indulgence. Before Diwali. That's why we came to class after Diwali. Before Diwali, party. You understand? All night you are partying. So, it starts. We are not saying it's right or wrong. You understand? That's up to you. We are not judging anybody here. But that's how it is. Right? So, the indulgent activity starts later at night. 6 p.m. ke baad. So, when you understand this, then you will adapt to it. If you want to take your life in the progressive growth, then you will follow this. Early hours, I'll wake up, I'll go to bed early. Choice is yours. We just discussed that. Right? So that's how the law of manifestation of gunas function. What to do? You understand? So we need to understand this and adapt accordingly. Then last but not the least, the most important law is law of control. We are calling it as law of control. You can call it whatever you want. See, please understand, the subtle controls the gross, not the other way around. Gross does not control the subtle. No. They say, a stone wall do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. Stone wall do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. What does it mean? You can imprison a person's physical body in a room, but you can't imprison his or her thoughts. Thoughts are subtler. Subtlety means it is more pervasive. It has control over the gross. You understand? So you can only arrest the person's physical body in the room, but you can't arrest the thoughts. During freedom struggle, all these great freedom fighters, Britishers tend to put them inside, because if they are outside, they do all kinds of problems outside. For them, problems for them. So they used to put them inside. Inside they create more problems. Right now they have all the time in the world. They are sitting and writing letters and books. That is creating worse problems. That is why you can only arrest the body. You can't arrest the thoughts. Thoughts are far subtler. You understand? So the subtle controls the gross. Gross doesn't control the subtle. So we need to understand this in life. You see an elephant, huge animal, so much power and strength, right? But controlled by a mouth who is very thin. He takes a stick and pokes, turn left, turns left. Turn right, turns right. You see the horse also. No? You say horsepower. What is the strength of the horse? And usually these jockeys are so thin. Right? The fellows are sitting on top of the horse and controlling the horse. Why? He can think. Animal doesn't have that capacity. Are you with me? So the subtle controls the gross. Similarly in life, human beings, based on whether they are operating on the mind or the intellect. You know, whether they are operating on the mind or the intellect. When you operate on the mind, you are called passive. When you are operating on the intellect, you are called aggressive. There is two types of human beings, aggressive and passive. And if they happen to be unselfish, you call them good. If they happen to be selfish, bad habits, you call them passive. Mechanical functioning, you call them passive. Conscious thinking, you call them aggressive. So good and bad, which is selfish, unselfish. Okay? So based on this, you are either aggressively good. If you are thinking and doing good, you are aggressively good. If you are thinking and doing bad, you are aggressively bad. If you are passively, mechanically have developed few bad habits, you are passively bad. If you are passively, mechanically grown up developing good habits, you are passively good. Because you are predominantly operating on the mind. So now the people who are operating on the intellect will be controlling people who are operating on the mind. Is that clear? So then the aggressively bad will be ruling over passively good and passively bad. Aggressively bad people will be ruling over passive good and passive bad. You will say, what is the point? I have been good, but I am suffering. You are suffering because you are not using the upper floor. You understand? You have an upper floor, you got to use it. So therefore, the aggressively bad person who is scheming and planning, all that he is doing, that fellow is controlling you, manipulating you. You understand? And therefore, only the fellow who is subtler than him, which is aggressively good fellow. See, first of all, he is unselfish. We just saw, no? If you are selfish, you will be disturbed. If you are unselfish, you will be happy, calm, secure. So with calmness and thinking, he is subtler than the aggressively bad fellow. Aggressively bad fellow is thinking, but he is not calm. Are you with me? Therefore, aggressively good person is very calm, composed, serene. He can plan better. He knows how to operate. He has objectivity, which the aggressively bad fellow doesn't have. Therefore, the aggressively good person rules over the aggressively bad person. So therefore, in life, it is not enough if you become good. You have to become aggressively good. Why? Because the law is subtle controls the gross, not gross controlling the subtle. And so mind controls the body, intellect controls the mind. That's how it works. The subtle controls the gross, not the other way around. So if we understand these things, we'll be able to live our life better. So we are supposed to study these laws, understand and live by it, so that the journey in this life from birth to death will be happy, enjoying. So we have seen 8 laws today. Law of causation, law of nature, law of attachment, law of attraction, law of neutralization, law of attitude, law of manifestation of gunas, law of control. So please think about all these things and try to abide by the laws, because when we abide by the laws, it will help us. If we go against it, we will only be suffering. Let's continue with our prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti